The Pinball Network is online. Launching.
Triple Drain Pinball Podcast.
All right, here we go again. Tom, are you ready?
Yep.
Good. Travis, you ready?
I gotta get my beer ready. All right. I'm ready.
All right, thank God. Here we go.
We're three guys who like to talk pinball, so we came up with a clever name. We're Joel and Travis Scott who talk pinball, and we call ourselves Triple Drain, Triple Drain, Triple Drain. We're Triple Drain.
Triple Drain.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tom, you look great, man.
Thanks.
You look better now. You look glowing. I know last time we recorded,
I had a haircut.
oh yeah. If only the listeners could see what I get to see, you know. And I know last time we recorded, you had just come off of Expo, and I know you're pretty drained from streaming that. Before that, you had Super Series. So I just feel like maybe you finally had some time to be a little more rejuvenated and just alive, and you look great.
Thanks. I'm a little more alert.
Yeah, Travis just seems kind of not. I'm surprised he hasn't interrupted us yet. I mean, Travis, what's going on, man?
I wasn't listening. I was getting my beer ready.
Oh, okay. So
of course.
Yeah, focusing on the beer consumption. Yeah, I mean, do you want to like participate sometime today?
That's true. That's true. I was in the middle of drinking my beer. I was letting you talk.
Okay. Well, you just focus on that then, and we'll just try to do what we do best, you know, Tom. So I don't know. There's not a ton of news. There's not a ton of stuff to get into, but I mean, let's start. Well, okay. So one thing I want to discuss actually is I actually had a chance to play a few games that I haven't played recently. There's a bar. There's Rec Bar. It's an arcade bar. And Travis, are you fine if we talk about this?
Okay, yeah. Let's just settle. Let me get another beer, Joel. Go ahead.
Another beer. Okay, we're 2 minutes into this podcast and you're already on your second beer. All right, we're letting cat out of the bag. Travis isn't here. Travis isn't here today, but all the listeners for the last 2 minutes, I think, probably believed it. I think it's very clear. Tom, you let us know. Do you agree with me that Travis is? I mean, he needs a little liquid courage to get through these podcasts recently.
He actually just passed out. So
okay.
we need to do the podcast without him.
Well, the weird thing is we've tried to record Triple Drain before with just two people. And there was one time, Tom, that you had to sit out and it just didn't feel right. And so Triple Drain needs three people. So when we learned that Travis couldn't record tonight, the reason Travis couldn't record tonight is because one of his 18 kids is having a birthday. And then he has Free Play Florida coming up and Thanksgiving next week. And we didn't want to put this off for like 3-4 weeks. So we're like, let's just go ahead and record a podcast. So Tom and I put our heads together and we're like, if we have a chance to, I don't know if the word replace is the right word, but I think upgrade. If we have a chance to upgrade Travis.
Definitely an upgrade.
Definitely an upgrade. So what does Travis bring to the table? It's not much, but what he does bring to the table, he's a solid content creator and he's a solid tournament player. So the goal was, let's find a better content creator and a better tournament player. And I don't know about you, but Karl DeAngelo was the first guy I thought of. So Karl, thank you very much for being on here tonight.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for the intro. That was great.
Yep. I will tell you, your name has come up multiple times in the last few episodes because you keep winning everything. Or doing very well. You've placed very well. Your tournament play in the last few weeks has been outstanding. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a good October. At Super Series, I didn't win any of the tournaments specifically, but yeah, getting the overall was fantastic.
Overall was great. Yeah. And over the course of October, Tom, how many times have you retired from pinball?
Like 10.
10. Okay. So maybe Karl, you're sucking some of the mojo from, I know Travis, I don't know how pleased Travis, he said he played well enough that Monica, I think, was proud of him. I don't know. So, but well done, Karl. I will say, as somebody, I'm not there with you. I'm not there watching you in person play these tournaments, but I will say I was checking in on, I like checking out on people that I know. And obviously I know you, Karl. So like seeing you over the course of Super Series, it's like, dang, Karl he's got this consistency thing figured out. So
got to try and take the kids down. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Last episode, we brought that up, that Travis is basically saying that how do you compete? Like, what is I don't know, when you go into, Travis was basically saying something along the lines of like flipper skills are somewhat even at this point. Like I don't know, a lot of these top high-end players, they all have the same physical abilities or similar physical abilities, but it really comes down to like rule knowledge and knowledge of the game. I mean, what do you feel? Do you agree with that statement, or what are your thoughts on the current younger group of tournament players doing so well?
Some of that. But at the same time, a lot of it does come down to flipper skills and recovery skills, especially. I think recovery skills are almost more important than rule knowledge. Rule knowledge will get you the points faster, but if you don't have the flipper skills or the recovery skills, you could know the rules, you know where to get the points, but you don't last as long as someone that does have those skills.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So you're okay. So it may not be so important that you hit the shot the first time you take it. It's more important that you can recover if you miss the shot.
I think, yeah. I think it's a lot of that.
This is a weird analogy, but I remember a coworker of mine's really good at bowling, and he said the key to bowling is not getting the strike; it's always picking up the spare. So if you don't hit it perfect on the first shot, being able to collect yourself and then hit it the second time or recover, and then pick up the spare. So interesting. I mean, Tom, being that you've come out of retirement again for pinball, what do you have anything?
I've learned not to watch you, Joel. That is the key.
Karl, I'm assuming you've seen the Abe flip video.
I saw the Abe flip video. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I don't really know what to say other than thank you, Abraham, for doing that. He sent that to me privately, and he just said, "Hey, I've been watching your streams." He's over, I think, in like Germany. And so he watches them after the fact. And he's like, "Hey, I saw you were draining in a very consistent manner last stream. And I just wanted to show you this. And here's some suggestions on things you could do differently." I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny video. I sent it to Tom and Travis. Travis ate it up. And I was like, "All right, Tom does all of our social media." And I was like, "Go ahead and post it. People will get a kick out of that." Then our good friend Steve Bowden reposted on Fun with Bonus, which I think every pinball enthusiast is a fan of. And then Abe made it public on his thing, and I think last time I checked, like 600 something people have watched it, and I don't know, are enjoying the misery of me draining over and over again. But
it's not the misery though. It's a learning experience, right?
It was. It absolutely was. And I will tell you, every time
the question is, have you learned anything from it?
I have. What I did learn is the very first game I played of Deadpool again, I drained in the exact same way. And it's like, wow, that is clearly a habit. Like, it is clearly a habit that if I'm not thinking, if I'm not aware that, I just hit the Wolverine shot, it's coming around the left side, like I need to actually try to do something different. And that's where I was actually trying to do like a live catch, or depending on the speed, try to let it dead bounce over to see what that does. Just trying different things, trying to find what works. And things got better. Things got better once I started to adjust. But that's something, I mean, as you guys are both tournament players, I feel like, Karl, you were kind of hinting at that. Like, it's the adjustments and learning from your mistakes. I feel like that is what, at least in the tiny bit of tournament play I have, I feel like that's really what sets some of you guys apart, because it doesn't matter how good you are at the game at your house or at the bar you play. The game's going to play totally different at whatever tournament you're playing at. So learning that game, learning how to adjust to its uniqueness. I don't know. I mean,
exactly. You'll hear a lot of players say they play worse on a game that they own in a tournament because they're used to their game, they're used to their shots, and when they have a hard time adjusting, and that's where those recovery skills or being able to adjust quickly makes a huge difference.
So how do you feel about our good friend Tom over here, who has a home field advantage at District 82, that lives and breathes these machines? He's got all this time to learn all the ins and outs. And then Mr. IEpinball flies in from California and picks it up no problem. I mean,
those get shuffled around. Like, I watched a video of Eric, moving things around for the tournaments this with the winter tournaments coming up. Yep, so the games change over time. Nothing's the same, month after month.
Okay. Yep. Well, very cool. Well, tournament stuff, I know, Expo, you did well in Expo as well, Karl, so well done there. And then Free Play Florida's coming up. I know Travis is going to that. Tom, are you going to that?
Yes.
Yep. And then Karl, are you making that trek?
I am not. I had it planned, but I canceled it after going to Chicago.
Gotcha. So Travis, you have a chance. You have a chance to do better this weekend is what it sounds like. So thank you, Karl.
Sounds like it's going to be a bloodbath at Free Play Florida. There are a lot of good people going to be showing up there.
I'm assuming Eric will play. Eric Stone.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be good. Is Ray Day going?
Yep.
Yeah, nice. And I'm assuming Neil. Neil, you taking Neil with you, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil's getting a break from school.
There we go. November may be your month, Tom. This may be, you may come back stronger than ever.
You never know.
You never know. Well, okay, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, at least you get to focus just on the tournament this time and not have to stream.
No streaming.
That's true.
So that's another thing. I mean, we'll probably plug it a little later, but Karl, you do in-disc and you do it incredibly well. You typically don't play though in in-disc, right? I mean, you focus entirely on streaming.
Right. Typically, I'm going to try and play in one or two of the events this year. Just because the new WAP rules are just so insane.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what in-disc is going to be, but it's going to be in the stratosphere. And basically, if I don't play in that, I may not have a chance in states. That's how many points that's going to be worth.
TGP.
Yeah. I have no idea, to be honest. I send it over to Josh and he goes, he tells me what it's worth.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I hope you can, because at least from afar watching it, it seems like one of the best, if not maybe one of the best tournament that I've seen. So I feel bad if you can't participate in it. That's one thing. I mean, props to Tom for always participating in the Super Series stuff. But I mean, I know it wears him out between the streaming and the TD and the playing. But I hope you get an opportunity to play as well, Karl.
Crossing my fingers this time. Yeah.
All right. Well, yes, stuff I did want to talk about. So thing number one, Godzilla. I finally got it. My Godzilla Premium is here.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you, I know the two of you guys both have one. It is insane. It is so freaking good. So question number one, Karl, what is it like every time you reset Godzilla and hear the machine call your name?
I love it, but it's embarrassing at the same time, right? It is.
Yeah.
It's Keith's making fun of me, Keith and all the team, for every reset I do. Absolutely. But it's fantastic.
It really is. The first time I heard that was awesome. That's a game designer using their power to the greater good. I just think it's hilarious to hear. But I know both of you guys. I mean, Karl, you've blown it up. I think there was a time that I was borrowing from Flipping Out. I was borrowing a Pro, and at the same time you had either an LE or Premium. I don't remember. And it's like there were people watching you stream it and blowing it up for whatever 10+ billion. And then rolling over to mine, I'm cracking, 500 million and feeling good about it. But I don't. Any thoughts on that? Like overall thoughts on Godzilla? I mean, what comes to mind when the two of you guys play this game? Do you feel it's Keith's best? Do you feel, I don't know. Do you feel it deserves the number one spot on Pinside?
I think it does deserve the number one spot. It strikes that perfect balance of being good for casual players, good for basically any skill level. There's enough to do on the surface, but there's a massive amount just beneath that for the players like myself that really want to dive into the deeper strategies.
Yeah, and you're talking city combos. You're talking about the imposter shot. You're talking about the secret combos, the stack. Like I don't know. There's what I thought I knew Godzilla, and now that I have it, I'm realizing like holy crap, there is so much more here that I need to learn.
Exactly. You can keep going in that list. It just keeps on rolling over and over.
Tom, how you feeling about it? You've had it a while now.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's an incredible game for sure. I'm very excited to have it. I'm very excited to dive in, and I know there's more coming. That's what's crazy is Keith has alluded to unlocking or there's more coming to the game, which is absolutely insane. So overall, anybody that's listening to this, what I think is cool is this is the first game that I've borrowed the Pro. And to be honest, I completely fell in love with it. I loved the Pro, and it had no mechs. But the game still shot so well. The code just kept drawing me back, the audio package, visual, everything. And so I felt it was worth owning the game again, but not only that, upgrading. And the upgrade was for all the mechs. And I know last episode we kind of talked about this. And Karl, I'm curious about your opinion, because Travis was really harping on the fact that he feels that mechs aren't what sell games. It's theme that sells games. And I actually had a few people reach out to me and email us kind of complaining about that they're like, they don't want to undervalue mechs. Like mechs are still really important. And I will say now that I have Godzilla, and I feel like this premium just added 3 insane mechs between the building, the bridge, and the rotating Mecha Godzilla. I'm really feeling that I agree that I think the mechs are super important. I don't know. I mean, Karl, you heard that discussion. Were you agreeing? Were you disagreeing? I mean, what are your thoughts on kind of the importance of mechs in modern pins?
I mean, I think for initial sales, theme is more important.
Yes.
by far. Initial sales that first month, a game can get by completely on theme, but for the long-term sales, it needs the mechs, and it needs those unique moments in pinball. What caught me off guard on Godzilla was the bridge. I really didn't think, when we saw the announcement, I didn't think much of the bridge. It's just this, little thing, drops the ball. But the way it's integrated and the way it, when you destroy the bridge and it does the whole, multi-second animation where it slowly collapses, just it makes that mech so worth it.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought it was just going to be a throwaway mech, to be honest.
Which is hilarious that a game could have a throwaway mech. I mean, I think there are certain games, some modern games these days only have one mech. And to have the Magna Grab shot, which is such a unique shot, and then the building is insane. But then it's like I feel like the building, that could have been it and people would have been happy. I think the Mecha Godzilla rotisserie thing could have been it and people could have been happy. So how Keith found a way with the bomb, the bill of materials that he had, that he could build in all these mechs and still produce an incredible game that doesn't seem over cluttered. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tom, do you you play the pro Godzilla a lot in tournament, and then you compare that to your Ellie at home. Like, do you have a preference? Do you feel that one does it better than other? I mean, what's your?
No, I actually think the LE's a little easier to play.
Okay.
But just the size of the spinner on the right hand side for Mecha Godzilla, but I like both versions of the game. Like if I just had a pro, I'd be extremely happy with just having a pro.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we brought up this conversation or the idea of mechs because the rumored next Pulp Fiction is supposed to be a single level game. Obviously, Elwyn's Bond has been said that it's a single level game. TNA just came out at almost a $10,000 price point, single level game. Do you feel like, Karl, as a pinball buyer and player, does that, when you hear it's single level, does that slow you down at all? Disappoint you at all? Or, I mean, I don't know. Because you assume it has less, right? It has less than another game.
Well, it has less vertical happening, less verticality or whatever you want to call that. It's just missing a couple of ramps, right? I mean, it's just plastic ramps or metal ramps, two different shots. It's not that big a deal to me. It really comes down to layout, shots, and rules for single level games.
Okay.
And you can still have toys in them.
Yeah.
Like we heard, Elwyn's is supposed to have a spinning disc in there, right? The odd job hat is what they announced, and a lot of drop targets everywhere.
Yep.
I don't know much else besides that.
Right. Yep. I'm with you. I think it's just I don't know. Maybe it's Bond. I don't. Karl, you had a chance to play Bond at Expo, I assume.
Yeah.
And we talked about it last episode. Travis's summary was basically the left side was the right side was pretty cool. I mean, he was. I don't know. Tom, did I summarize that well? Is that similar to how you felt? I don't.
Yeah, pretty well for me. Yes. Karl.
Yeah, Karl, what did you think of Bond's layout?
Yeah, I would agree mostly with the assessment. That's a game again that the code is so early that you really have to judge that game right now on the shots alone. Nothing else.
I look back to Stranger Things, and when Stranger Things came out, the code was just so bare bones. It just wasn't fun to play.
Yeah,
and I think Bond is actually a little bit ahead of that. But you can still tell it's lagging stuff, but it has potential.
Well, I remember we talked about Bond last episode, and that kind of started the conversation of mechs or the importance of mechs, because Travis was basically saying after playing the premium Bond and the pro Bond, he thought the pro Bond was better. He's like, the Bond on a wand, didn't really see the appeal to it. The diverter or that lock, the rocket lock, he's like, didn't really see. And the underwater, so it's like, to him, that was an instance where throwing in additional mechs didn't really necessarily make a better game. That was his thought. While something like Godzilla seems totally different. The additional mechs take a great game and make it even better. And I think there's a lot when you look at a bunch of the recent, even like Rush, I will say when I watched the Rush reveal, I thought pros the way to go. That ramp and the dead end shot, like I didn't see those as very important. But now that I've played both, I definitely feel the added mechs really make that game better. I know Tom. I mean, Tom like lays on his LE almost every night, and and whacks it. I don't know, Carl. Do you have a preference on Rush? I would love to hear you say you hate it, just to see what how Tom reacts.
I just bought one. It's sitting. I haven't even turned it on yet. It's sitting downstairs. I need to. It's on the list to play. So no, I don't have a preference between the Pro or the Premium. I haven't played enough of the game yet to get a good sense of it.
I think you will like it. That's my guess based off of the logic that Ray and Timmy built into that game. I think you're going to eat it up. Especially
Karl, if you need it, there's Ray Day did a
Babies First.
Babies First.
I watched it. I like that he did it. It was good. It was a good. Yeah. It was a good primer. I got a primer on the game before going to Expo because I knew it was going to be in the Stern Pro circuit and at Expo, and I wanted to make sure that I knew at least had a base level of knowledge.
And you got to the wizard mode the first time.
And I did get to the wizard mode. Yeah, the first game, my host scanned in, so she got all the achievements. She was happy. I was happy. That was a good time.
Well done. Awesome. Speaking of getting to the wizard mode, so we're gonna hit on. Well, we'll just go into it. So, I was serious. My wife and I, we kind of had a vacation away from the kids over the weekend, and we did a whole bunch of different activities. We went to Mammoth Cave, which is insane. If anybody's in Kentucky, that cave is mammoth. It's huge. It's insane. It's so cool. We did a bunch of cool stuff, but Sunday night we had nothing to do. And there's a bar, I think it's called Rec Bar. And they had like 70 or 80 pins. It was awesome. And went in there and spent some time. My wife had a few drinks, so she was actually interested in playing pinball. And it was cool. We walk into the pinball room, and the game she walked right up to, the very first game she walked up to was Toy Story. She saw Toy Story. She's like, oh, Toy Story. We go up, we put in 2 players, hit start, and she goes, did you ever have this one? I was like, yes, this was in our basement for over a month. Like that's how little she cares about pinball here at home. But I know when Zach and I streamed it, he literally got to the wizard mode the night we streamed it. Now, to be fair, he had already had it for like a week or two. It took me the whole time, probably 3 weeks I had it, to finally get to the wizard mode. Karl, I know it was a struggle, but I know you finally got to the wizard mode.
It's the super loops. That's what, it's just the super loops.
So we talked about this, and this is what I will tell you. So super loops, it's one of the 7 things you have to qualify to get to the wizard mode. You either hit 3 in a row, or you have to hit it, it's like 14 times after you qualify super loops. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something so like
it is a huge pain in the butt. And on the one I had, I could not do 3 in a row. Karl, the one you owned, could you do 3 in a row?
I could not.
No. So everybody listening, right? That Ray Day, Mr. Ray Day that listening, Karl DeAngelo on his could not do 3 in a row. Because that's what everybody in TPN is giving me a hard time. Just hit 3 in a row. Piece of cake. What I will say is I went right up to the one in Rec Bar. That was my only goal. I was like, I want to see if I can get 3 in a row. The very first ball, 3 in a row. Boom, boom, boom. So it's possible. I think it's possible, but I don't know. Karl, you're one to tinker with your games. I have no idea why the geometry on one would make it so much easier than another.
If I had it longer, I would have torn apart the ramp, in the back, because that back shot is kind of shared.
Yeah.
So the loop has a little jump on it. I assume it was just something there, right around the jump area.
I don't know, but did it piss me off. It really did. But we had a good time on that. I mean, my wife, it's a great theme. She was drawn to a good light show, but
did she ask when you're buying it then? Or
no, sorry, not like Travis and Monica who still own one. But all I had to do was show her the Duke Kaboom ramp, and that was what she was going for. That was the toy that drew her in, and we played 1 or 2 games until she finally hit it. But what was cool is when she went to, she went to like buy another drink. Right next to it was an Iron Man Premium. And this is what kind of sparked my thought of this idea of a game with or without mechs. I've played Iron Maiden. I've played Iron Maiden Pro many times and had a good time. Like, it's a good shooter, feels good. I'd never had a chance to play the Premium. And now that I have, I really like the Premium. Like, that sarcophagus lock, I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for diverters. When you shoot a ramp and you're expecting the ball to come back and it doesn't because it diverted somewhere else, that's pretty sick. The ramp lifting up, it's just those when the game changes, when the geometry of the game changes for a particular shot, I don't know, it stood out to me where I was like, okay, well done, Keith. Like, I don't, do you guys have a preference when it comes to Iron Maiden Pro versus Premium?
Not really. I mean, I own the Pro, so I'm completely fine with playing a pro.
Yeah,
I had the pro for a while. I'm trying to get a premium, so
there you go.
I'll take the premium. I find the premium a little more difficult, right? Because the tumor wards, are on the left ramp instead of the right orbit.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. So that's a Keith game that I'm liking the premium of Godzilla. I think I'm preferring the premium on Iron Maiden. I like the premium on Jurassic Park just because I'm a sucker for that T-Rex. But I do know some people complain about that they feel like the mouth kind of rejects. And then the Raptor pits kind of take it or leave it. I don't know. Do you guys have a preference when it comes to that?
I'd rather play a premium in a tournament.
Why?
Just because you can lock the ball easier in the Raptor pit.
In the Raptor pit?
Oh.
You can like backhand it into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
All
you
right.
get the additional 2x also. It's easier
Yeah.
to see that you've got the 2x during that Raptor multi-ball when you
Right.
lock the
Gotcha.
ball behind there. The pro
Right.
just, you can still get it, but it doesn't hold the ball.
Right.
Just like the Metallica snake, it holds it
Yeah.
in there.
right.
And I know, but Avengers is a game that I had borrowed from Flipping Out and I had a pro and I had a great time on it. But that's another one where I think the premium, because of the lock, the disc that raises up, instead of having to hit the Fat Boy ramp in the back to start the mode, you just have to kind of drop it in. So I like that because I could be a little more strategic on when I want to hit the ramp. While I think the spinning disc, sometimes the ball just falls into it. I mean, it's a big gaping hole in the middle of the play field. So sometimes you might start a gym before you want to. Do you feel like that's another L1 game where the mechs help or hurt it with the pro versus premium on Avengers? You still have yours, Tom, right? I can see it in the background.
I have my LE. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Pin Clash, did you feel that there was an advantage with the pro versus premium on the?
Carl makes you turn off that stuff.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I had to make them, as close as possible. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, no, I don't know. I still don't know. I think the more that I've talked about the thought, I'm still team mech. Give me the mechs. I want the mechs. Everybody wants, if they're going to pay the money, they want to have mechs that ooh and awe them. But at the same time, yeah, we all do agree. It's not the mechs that sell the game. It's the theme. And then, yeah, but what sold me on Godzilla was not the theme. It was the mechs and the code and the shots and all the other stuff. So, well, cool. Other games that I played, my wife was really drawn to Big Lebowski. She's not a Big Lebowski fan. I think she's seen it one time in her life, but the world under glass that Big Lebowski has to offer is insane. I mean, there's so many mechs in that game. It took me multiple games to show her all the mechs in the game, between the bowling alley down below, watching the rug move back, getting the car to swing out on the upper playfield to bash that. There's a lot in that game. Have either of you spent any considerable time on Big Lebowski?
Like
No?
two or three games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At shows.
I would love to see more, because apparently they just released a bigger code update. Unfortunately, though, my Big Lebowski experience, my wife was like, this game's awesome. Like, she's like, look at these things and look at this. Like, she was just blown away with the mechs. She was blown away in the theme integration in the game. Unfortunately, we played probably 3 games on it, and 2 of those, it crashed. Like, straight up, 2-player games, put $2 in, 2-player games, middle of the ball game. Like, there was one point where I drained. It didn't know I drained. I'm like, I'm seeing it in the trough. I shook it to see if it wasn't settled correctly, tilted out, and then it was stuck in just tilt, in a tilt animation. We got the tech, and the guy comes over, and I was like, yeah, I explained. He goes, nah, this is just some stupid Dutch people that don't know how to make a good game. That was the tech's response. Literally turned off the game, turned it back on, opened the coin door, and gave us 2 credits and walked away. I was like, wow, okay, tell me how you really feel, kind of thing. And then we start our next game, and it was a similar thing where we're up top and my flippers just died. Like, just flippers just died.
You sure you weren't playing Halloween?
Wow, okay, Carl said it, not me. All right, no, but there was no Halloween there.
Hey, I watched the Stone videos. Okay.
Yeah, I know Eric's response to Halloween. I wish there would have been a Halloween there. I still get people telling me how great Halloween is. I know Tim Lee with Poor Man reached out to me, and he said Halloween is probably his most played game at his house right now. Obviously, he threw a big Halloween party, but he's like, to novice players, it's an incredible theme. The atmosphere is really cool. There's great mechs in it. Like, they were just drawn to it. Tim also told me, like, GNR gets a ton of plays at his house, and Stranger Things. So those are the games that really draw him in. But
It goes back to theme, doesn't it?
it's all theme. But
Yeah.
he said Halloween, he's like the butt pretzel. If you can get up there, like he feels the butt pretzel's incredible. Carl, you
No, I'm shaking my head. Yeah,
You
no,
disagree.
I completely disagree with that. The geometry on the shot is just not right to me, in my opinion.
I think Tim said something that he said some of the poor men are giving him a hard time because he thinks it's one of the best shots in pinball is the butt pretzel. He freaking loves it.
Weird Al has a very similar shot, and Weird Al does it a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now,
I
Carl,
played
do you
Weird
have
Weird
go
Al
ahead.
at Expo? I really liked that game.
Yeah, it's a fun
So-
game. It really is.
Yeah.
Now do you still have the P3 or you were
No, I had it because I was fixing it for Shane over at Ace Gogi.
okay?
Got it working and sent it back over to him. So it's
So
out
you
of the house.
played-
But I had it for a good 2 months, I think. Played a
Yeah,
good
what-
deal of Weird Al.
What were your thoughts then, like overall of I don't know, like mechanically, how are you enjoying the P3? Or I mean, there's all the shots are in the back third. Does that wear on you after a while, or I don't know?
No, the shots in the back there didn't wear on me that much, and that surprised me. It's something I didn't really think of. The game
Was
is
it-
fun. I do enjoy the game. I like the rules, the animations.
Was it a little too easy?
It's a little on the easy side, but at the same time, it's not so much. Like
Okay.
I'd put it definitely more difficult than Toy Story.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that's yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was playing them around the same time, so that's why I
Okay.
guess I have that comparison in my head. I'm still I hate saying it, but I'm still not a fan of the flipper mechs on the P3.
Yeah,
I just
Okay.
and I don't like the button arrangement. I want to be able to
See-
stage. I understand why they put the flippers on separate buttons to make it easier for new people to control them individually, right?
Sure.
When I was at Expo, the gentleman who was there actually, this was in the morning before it opened. He was there and I was talking to him, and he asked me, he goes, "Do you want it the standard way, or do you want it where just one button controls your flippers?" And I said, "I'll take the one button." So he went in there and changed it. So I don't know, that might make it more enjoyable to you.
Did that feel more natural?
Right. And you can
Yeah.
do that, but you still can't stage them then
Oh, okay.
No.
because there's
yeah.
not a double leaf switch in there. And so I
Gotcha.
actually, when I had the game here, I took off the button boxes and I tried to add a double leaf switch into it. But there's
Wow.
not enough physical space in there. So you'd have to print up, the 3D print a larger button box, which puts it even further outside of the
Yeah.
cabinet. I don't know how natural that would feel.
Okay. And I do
But-
remember that because I think it's 5 flippers. Like one of the flippers you had to flip, but that
Mhm.
didn't bother
Yeah,
me
the
at all. The
upper
very top
playfield.
one, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
what I found interesting is when I played one recently at what is it, North End Pub up in Lafayette, that the upper flippers I mean it amazes me with novice how upper flippers are invisible. They have no concept that there's an upper flipper on a game,
Right.
but the P3 ones are even more hidden. And if it's on a separate button, there's no way, like I don't know, I don't know if that has to be a common problem for a novice to step up and literally have no idea that there's upper flippers, unless it screams it at you somehow. I don't know. Was that ever something? Because visually, people have complained about that. Like Carl, the plastic kind of hides the upper flippers.
Yeah.
That's just a feel thing that you learn after a while because there's no visual cue of
You can
where that flipper is.
Look at the flipper rubber. That's your visual cue.
That's
You
your
can
hope.
kind of
Okay.
see that under the plastic. But yeah, totally. They are hidden by the plastic.
So what was your thought then of the germs mode? Because that's something that I do think is really cool. It's very unique, obviously, to the P3 to have the wall come up and then you're hitting moving graphics. They're not physical things you're interacting with. I mean, was that a mode that you thought like this is cool, like this is really neat, or just kind of like I want to go back to physical pinball?
I enjoyed it. It's a fun mode. It's nice being able to hit things just in the middle of the playfield. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. At the same time, blocking off the rest of the playfield makes it. I always wanted to just hurry up and get out of that mode.
Oh, okay. It is definitely more deadly because the ball's hitting a wall and coming right back at you.
Yeah, and after I figured out, okay, shoot from the right, shoot to the left, and just don't use the upper flipper, let it come back down. It's generally pretty safe at that point.
Interesting.
So once I
Okay.
figured out that trick, it wasn't that big a deal to get through it.
So would you put a P3 game in disc?
Putting me on the spot here.
I'm just curious. Like, do you feel that it's
Um,
tournament ready?
I don't. One of the main reasons I'm going to say no is because you can trap a ball beneath the upper flipper
Okay.
and just hold it there and never let it
Oh.
go. So during multi-ball, you can skillfully get a ball behind either of those two uppers and never let them out.
So you would have to, if you put that in a tournament, you would probably print some part or something to put behind the flipper to keep you from being able to do that.
You'd have to do something. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I know the game can also detect that the ball is there, so I don't know why they haven't programmed it to raise the flipper if a ball is trapped behind there.
The real
Interesting.
question is, would he put a Halloween at in disc?
Well, that's, don't ask me that. Jim loves Halloween. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
got one at his house. I played it at his Halloween party because I wanted to see, because he's talking all about it. And I want to see, okay, maybe his play's better than mine. No,
Sure.
same thing.
Yeah.
But he loves it. So I
So it could.
Maybe.
it could at some point. Jim loves his spooky
Alright.
games. I mean,
Yeah.
like Halloween style spooky games, not spooky
I do
pinball.
remember Alice Cooper being at in disc.
Right.
So
Yeah.
And that held up the whole time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
yeah, played well.
Well, Pin Clash is your child, Carl. So you have control over the game. So I'm assuming Toy Story is going to be.
Yep.
Toy Story
Got
is.
it.
Got it.
Yep. Heads up
You're
Toy
right.
Story.
It's either Toy Story or Halloween. You got to pick one. Yep. So, yep. Well, cool. Other games that we played, one thing I thought was funny was, Alien. She saw Alien. She's like, that looks awesome. Let's play that. Alien, she was bored of it almost immediately. And it's just because you can tell that game is super atmospheric. Like the lighting is really good. But when you're in a bar, you can't hear it. And that's a game that I walked away from that going, I would love to spend more time in this game, but not in a bar. Like I feel like you got to have that at home. Have either of you played Halloween at all to any extent?
I played it when it first came out. There was one in Madison, and of course, stuff wasn't working on it.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the highway version. And then the last time I played a couple of games at Expo, just kind of feeling it out. I thought it was okay. I'm it's not something I'd add to my collection.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like many wide body games. I like a few of them, but I think that's one thing that like hurts that game. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Carl, have you spent time with Alien at all?
I've spent a little bit of time on it. More the highway version than the Pinball Brothers version. I did
Gotcha.
stream the bit of the Pinball Brothers, but we kept having issues with the game. It was right when that was released, like one of the first ones to come out. But the game, yeah, like you said, it's very atmospheric, and you need to, have the sound cranked up, lights turned down, even if it makes it a little hard to see things.
Yeah.
But the rules are great. I think Joe Schober did a great job on the rules. The layout has a couple issues to me, like the upper right flipper. I could never get the ball to feed to that flipper reliably, because it comes out from the pop bumpers and it can go either to the right or the left.
Yep.
All the copies I've played always go to the left. They never feed to the right. And that shot is so tight that I could never shoot the ramp to get the hyperspace multi-ball. I think it's hyperspace, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Or hypersleep.
Something like
I don't know. One of those two.
I think it's hypersleep. I know what you're saying. I think I hit that shot maybe one time. And one thing that did feel weird, the flippers felt odd. My wife she's like, these flippers are super sensitive. The flipper mechs themselves, is it different? Is it like opto versus leaf switcher? Like something felt like you barely had to touch those flipper buttons and things were flipping. Do you know, Carl, you probably know.
I don't know what they use on the cabinet, but inside the game, they use micro switches for all the targets instead of using leaf switches. So they may have micro switches on the cabinet buttons as well. I'm not certain of that, though.
Yeah, it felt weird, but I don't know. But overall, those were all games that I came away. It was a great night, but all somewhat newer games that I had a chance to put more time on, and I definitely enjoyed it. The last thing was Batman. She saw Batman: The Dark Knight. She was like, "Well, this looks pretty cool." I was like, "Well, here, just a sec." And I walked her over one more row and then showed her Batman 66. I was like, "This is the upgrade." And she goes, "Really?" Like she preferred the look of the regular Dark Knight And I was like, why? She goes, well, it had like the Joker on it. I was like, so a Joker action figure. That's all you need. And she's like, well, when I think of Batman, I think of the Joker. And this one, there isn't enough Joker. I was like, okay. I mean, that was her opinion, which I thought was funny. And then I also experienced, there was another place we were at earlier in the day, and there was 3 pinball machines. There was this kind of flea market, and one of them was a Deadpool LE. They had a Deadpool LE sitting there. Deadpool LE, Big Buck Hunter. I thought of you, Karl. I always do. And when I see Big Buck Hunter, I think of you and Nick Lane, because I know Nick Lane with Buffalo loves that. A Star Trek, and that was it. Those are the 3 that were there. And what was funny to me was Deadpool. Somebody was playing it the entire time, and it was normally like I don't know, somebody like kids, like Deadpool. I get it. I think Deadpool on location must crush. But I went to play, and a dad walks up with his daughter, and he's trying to explain to her pinball. He doesn't know the turn, the flappers and this and this. He puts money in, and he starts pounding. This was a Star Trek. Starts slapping the action button. He's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "The start button's down here." And I reached down and hit the start button for him, and they drained 1 ball. And he was like, "Well, that was fun." I was like, "You have 2 more balls." He's like, "Oh, okay," and comes back up, and then 1 ball drained quick, and he's like, "Oh, that was a fast one." He starts to walk away. I was like, "No, ball save was on." It's like the simple things that we all take for granted. Like, I don't know. I almost feel bad for Stern or JJP or any of these. Like, how do you teach somebody where the start button is? But I mean, they already make it blink brightly, but it's still, I don't know how they do that. So those were my overall pinball experiences over the weekend. Did you guys happen to play anything recently that really stood out? Obviously, these are all games that I've suggested. No.
Nothing. No.
Nothing new. All right. Well, the goal was, like I said, there wasn't a ton of news. So we decided, I think it's time to do what some people feel is our best segment. We rarely do it. I think it's Travis's favorite segment. So you'll probably be a little annoyed that we're doing it. But hey, Travis, do you want to do this with us?
Okay, yeah. Let's just settle. Let me get another beer, Joel. Go ahead.
Okay. We'll wait for you. Wait for you to get your beer. We're gonna do we're gonna do a triple combo. So here we go.
Welcome to Triple Burger. How can I help you?
Yeah, can I get the combo, please?
Did you want the single, the double, or the triple?
I think I'll have the
Triple combo. Yeah.
Are you done?
Yep.
Pull ahead, please.
All right. Well, shout out to Jason and his wife once again for recording that for us. But yes, so triple combo, it's where we break down a game 3 ways. So essentially a novice perspective or a novice way to play the game, how to like complete the game, kind of like a wizard mode, and then how to address the game in a tournament. And I know, Tom, you still own GNR. I think it's the red game behind you, right? Is that what I'm seeing all the way in the back?
No, it's in the other room, Joe.
No. What's the red game?
Way in the back, that's X-Men.
It's red? Oh, you have the Magneto one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Carl, for the viewers.
I'm not lying to you, Joe.
I trust you. Carl's background's like a forest scene, so I mean it's really nice, Carl. Yeah. We break down the game 3 ways. So I know Tom still owns the game, and then Karl, I know you stream the heck out of GNR. I know you were testing Pinmonk, had a bunch of Flipper fans, you were testing different stuff, Diverter fans, all that thing. So I know you've spent a ton of time on GNR. So I actually thought GNR would be a fun game to talk through. We've done a bunch of Sterns, so time to give JJP some love. Should be a good time. So we're going to kind of tag team this. I'll go ahead and do the novice part. So novice part would be just your average Joe stepping up to GNR. What is it that they need to do to experience something fun in the game? And in my opinion, the goal is to get them into a song as quickly as possible. I will say though, there are 7 things they have to do to get into a song. JJP was smart though, because every time you drain a ball, they give you, it's like 2 or 3 of those things automatically if you haven't gotten to a song yet. So the 7 things are, you have to collect the 7 band members. The 2 keyboard shots are just right there, kind of in front of the scoop. Duff, which is the bass, is up. You got to go up the upper left and then kick a ball up onto the bass ramp. Axle deals with the rollover lanes in the back. Slash is the spinner with the top hat. You have to do that a certain number of spins. Frankie, I think, is the drummer. That's all about pop bumper hits, or you can hit the right ramp, which is the drumstick ramp. And then I forget the rhythm guitarist's name, but that's the kind of the middle spinner shot, which to be honest was like one of my favorite shots. I really enjoyed how that shot kind of squiggled back. But if you hit those 7 shots, and I will say they do a really good job communicating. If you're in a track mode, it actually flashes kind of the 7 different zones. So if you walk somebody up to it, you can kind of let a track mode kind of tell you how to do that. But that's how you collect all 7 band members. If you want to just show them because it's a fun shot and feels good, you can show them how to hit the left ramp and then lock a ball into the guitar neck. I mean, that is it's kind of a satisfying, cool shot. But once you do that, if you can help somebody through to get all 7 band members, then all they have to do is hit the center scoop. Once they're in the center scoop, they can pick whatever song they want and just be ready to enjoy the light show. Because the song, I mean, they really do an exceptional job of the experience, the concert experience. So if you can help somebody get into a song mode or coach them through, that's how a novice player in my mind is going to enjoy that game. Now, once they come out of this song, and it'll be a multi-ball when they get into the song. So that should be fun for them. But it's not super approachable in my mind. You know, there are plenty of other games that have very accessible, cool features that are not far from the start button for novice to experience. GNR, there's a little bit of depth that you have to do to get to that song. But I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? Do you agree with from a novice? Am I missing something that a novice could enjoy? No,
you're right about there, I'd say.
There are a few multi-balls. So I've explained this before that GNR, it's kind of a 2-stage thing. You're either preparing for the song or you're in a song. That's it. Preparing for a song or in a song. So when you're preparing for a song, there are 4 multi-balls that you can do that will help you build the value of your song. So there's a chance that a novice may step up and just kind of mistakenly fall into a multi-ball. That's very easy to do depending on what you hit in the game. But otherwise, yeah, that's the main goal. Just how do we collect all 7 guys as quickly, or the members as quickly as possible, get them into a song, and then just have a great time. So I think that's kind of it for the novice standpoint. So let's dive into, let's approach the actual game. Like if you want to see as much of the game as possible, I don't know, maybe Tom, do you want to start us with that? Like if your idea is like, I want to see all the stuff that JJP's put in this game, how do you approach seeing the breadth of the game, if that makes sense?
Well, I mean, you pretty much explained everything I was going to explain, Joel. So
okay, so collect 7 band members. Got it.
Right, and I think really important from like a tournament standpoint would be going for those 4 multi-balls before you go into a song and really building those up. Not only that, but collecting the patches by spelling GNR. So the patches are on the back of the backboard on the LCD display, and those patches can do a lot to give you certain awards or like bonuses to build up. So, you know, I think that is a good strategy to do. And then Karl can probably explain a lot better than I can.
Yeah. So Karl, when you were like trying to see, because there's what is it, 4 different albums? So each album, depending on what you do, there's a mini wizard mode, and then if you do all of them, isn't there there is an end wizard mode, right? That was a goal of yours, right?
Yeah, not in this lifetime.
That's right. It was. So when you were trying to do that, what was your thought process? Because patches, there are people that say ignore patches, because grinding for patches is something that really started to wear me out on the game.
Yeah.
Because to collect the patches, you have to spell GNR, which is on the in lanes. So the easiest way to do that is backhand the left ramp and then basically let it drain from the upper playfield and just keep moving around the letters and just keep doing that. I don't know. How did you attack patches, or what patches were you focusing in on?
I mean, it depends on, again, tournament or wizard play. So if we're talking tournament still, it's going to be, I want to know if I can backhand that ramp to get those patches all day. And if I can, I'm going to go for the ones that give me the unlimited boosters. You know, the horn, the amp, the lights, and the firecracker. Yep. Those 4 let you play the booster multi-balls as much as you want between songs. So normally you can only play them once. Once you drain out, you can't play it until you play a song and go on. Those 4 unlimited. So at that point, if I'm in a tournament, I want those 4 patches, and then I'll just be shooting the get 2 lights, 2 lanes lit, GNR or AM, and then get the last letter for AMP, and I'm in the multi-ball again.
That's
so most
right.
of the time,
and
it's just an alley pass over to AMP, and
so
then I'm in a 2-ball.
You're saying tournament strat is don't even go into a song?
Because the songs aren't guaranteed points.
Oh yeah, because if you drain out, it's all gone.
Exactly. If you don't cash out, or exactly, or you miss the applause jackpot. Those precious 15 seconds or so to hit the scoop at the end. You miss that, you've lost your entire jackpot, and you've gotten a couple 100,000 probably.
So to explain people that don't know GNR, so yes, if you collect all 7 band members, you hit the center scoop, boom, you're in a song. The whole point of once you're in a song is different albums have different colors on what shots you're supposed to hit. And once again, the little monitor on the back of the playfield does a really good job telling you what to hit. But once you're in the song, you just have to hit those shots. And it's not a number of shots thing, it's a timed mode. You are trying to get through the song. And once you get towards the end of the song, if you hit enough shots, you'll get an encore. Otherwise, you have an applause jackpot, which is like one last shot, and boom, you hit that, and then you have an option. You either keep playing or you cash. Well, throughout the song, there are times where you have to hit the scoop and you get the option. You keep playing or you cash out. I typically cash out. Karl, I don't think Karl knows how to cash out on a game. He will always push it. But that's the whole point of the game, is that risk reward constantly. Do you want to build or go away? And I just assumed in a tournament strategy that is even more worrisome, because you're not getting anything. You get no points if you drain before you cash out. But you're saying the strat is almost don't even go into a song, just focus on the build stage beforehand?
Exactly. I would focus on the boosters and stay in there. I mean, you'll get more points out of the songs, but you won't have the guaranteed points that the boosters give you.
You can go into the song and not necessarily finish it, and just like you were saying, Joel, just cash out. I'm at 10 million. I could possibly get 40 million, but
I could also
depending
drain,
on where all the other players are, you might want to say, well, I'm going to cash out and go back into doing those booster multi-balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the key is AMP never gets harder. It's only 3 letters every time. The other boosters take more shots to start, but AMP is always just the 3 letters.
So AMP those are the inlane letters, and you can move those with the flipper. So that's where you're saying you back in the left ramp, you literally let the ball drain off the left ramp, and that will give you a letter, and you just do that or drain, or there's a safer way, right, to get the ball back to your flipper.
Well, there's the the left and right ramp feed the left and right in lanes, but the AMP is the far left in lane. The
So you
second
have to
one.
go up
So
on
you can
the
go up to the base ramp. You can do that, or you can alley pass it.
Oh wow, I hadn't even thought about that. So that strategy is that, well, first off, have either of you guys played GNR in a tournament?
I actually have.
Yeah, and did you see that strategy being utilized, focusing in on the little mini multi-balls, or actually they were going into songs?
No, well, I mean, there was some focus on it, but by the time ball 3 came around, it was time to go into a song. But I will say on that particular copy, the flippers were really weak, so it was hard making shots on the ramps. So that played a key factor in the strategy of the game as well.
Interesting. Okay, so if that's the tournament strat, which that's really interesting. I guarantee some listener that I never even thought about that. But so just figure out which patch it is to specifically AMP. AMP is the main multi-ball, because you just say you play it over and over again once you have the patch.
Yeah, 4 patches.
You gotta get all 4?
Yeah, you have to get all 4 to get the unlimited. Yeah.
So you can't just get one patch for AMP multi-ball and play that one unlimited.
Right. You need that entire set.
Oh wow. So it is a grind. It is a grind to get all 4. Yeah.
And if you can't backhand that left ramp to just do I call it patch factory.
Okay. Yeah.
If you can't do that, then you're going to be playing for songs. You're going to be you want to lock the balls and get your biggest ball saver for your song so that you can play as much as you can while in safety of ball saver and then cash out at the earliest possible moment.
Interesting. Because I found myself definitely trying to get, there was one, I think it was drumsticks or something that basically it doubled the value of the pops. And then so there were certain songs that were switch hits. So the goal is to just get it back into the pops anyway. So I was trying to stack some of those patches. And then I know if you got all 4 of the different sponsors, that's an extra ball. So that was something I was always aware of. And then I know Pinmonk was big on getting, I tried to remember, it was like t-shirt and poster, which help you with the song length or something, or the length of your ball say. I mean, there's a lot of strategy there if you really want to pursue it. Well, that's maybe, okay, so tournament strat, you focus on the multi-balls before the song. But Karl, if you're trying to go for longevity and playing the game as much as you can, how would you attack that?
Right. So if I'm point pushing, I'm going to do all the similar things. I'm going to go for those 4 sponsors to get the extra ball. I especially want Fender as my first one.
Okay.
Because Fender is the one that whenever you spot a band member, it gives you another band member.
That's right.
And that's what Pinmonk was probably telling you about.
Yep.
Is my guess. Because that'll get you to band frenzy quicker in the songs. Band frenzy increases the scoring.
Yep.
Now there's a lot of magic, mojo, whatever you want to call it with the scoring. I still don't understand exactly what increases the song values. Or, when you go into a song, you have a value of, it's between 10 and 200. 200, it says max. And that determines the value of the points in a song. You increase that value by doing well in the booster multi-balls, getting certain patches, and so on. So as the game gets deeper and deeper, the songs become more valuable. If you get to an encore, it makes the next song even more valuable. So that the value, it just keeps compounding on it. But again, all the math is in the background. So you don't see exactly what the scoring will be.
Wow. Okay. And at the same time, if you drain, it's all gone. That's the thing that I found when I streamed it is I would get, 2 or 3 patches, the patches that I wanted to get. I get it. I think I got everything built up. I'm like, this is the song I want to pick. It's a switch hit mode. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going in with 4 balls. I had lock 3. Here we go. Let's go. And then boom, like triple drain down to 1 ball, flub that. And it's all gone. And it's like, well, ball 2. So I get to start all that over again, and it just, I will say some of the lowest lows I've ever had in pinball were on that game. But then there was a time that I cashed out. For me, it was a big, I don't even remember what it was, but it was big. It was a big jackpot for me. And like actually hitting the shot and getting that was quite a feeling. So I don't know. I mean, Karl, you don't own, you were just borrowing it, or you own it still?
No, I owned it. I still have it right now. I'm putting it up on the block pretty soon though.
And so why is it leaving the collection?
It's time. It's become a grind to me. I actually haven't enjoyed playing it as much lately. I mean, it's a great game for any prospective buyer. Please buy my game. No, I really, with that first year of ownership, I thoroughly enjoyed the game just because of because it's the risk reward. I just loved tacking on as much risk as I could, and I'd have those moments where I missed the applause jackpot in the end with the 100 million point jackpot lit, and it's gone. There's nothing. It's just gone. I move on to the next song. And it's like you're dejected at that point. It's you don't know if you even want to play that next song. Because that's where all the points were. It was in if you could get to the third song in a set, 2 encores in a row, that third song could just blow up the game. 200 or 300 million, especially if you got to Estranged. That was always what I was hoping it would push me into, because Estranged I always found was easy to keep going because the shots are on the targets, a lot of them, so you can constantly get out of balls. And even though it's a really long song, you keep getting out of balls over and over, and by the end the jackpots are just insane.
I'm gonna act like I know that feeling. But I don't know. I think I had a jack. I think I got encore a handful of times, to get even to a second song, so I don't have to do the grind of collecting the players again. I was like, yes, here we go. Let's get another song going. And just when I felt like I had when you have that feeling of like, this is huge. Just I have like 3 more shots I have to hit before I have a chance to cash out. Like, come on, do it, hit the shot. It just, I don't know. It makes you. It's exhilarating, and that's. I know people that watch me streaming, they saw that roller coaster of a ride. And I still feel like GNR for a bigger collection makes sense. It's such a unique experience. I mean, Tom, it's still in yours. What's drawing you in? I mean, why is it still yours?
You
I mean,
ask
why do
me
you
this
still own it?
every episode.
I know,
I haven't turned it on in a while.
but you still have it. You haven't sold it. Yeah.
Neil wants to keep it.
Oh, okay. So
No,
Neil
just
likes it.
kidding. No, I like it. I like Guns N' Roses music. I think the theme is definitely well integrated in the game. They did an amazing job with it. Yeah, I still like it. I wish it was a little less multi-ball intensive, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I get it. And before I had GNR, I felt like Metallica had done the risk reward thing extremely well. Like I really thought they had kind of set the bar, and then I got GNR and I was like, okay, this game is nothing but risk reward. I really enjoy that. And then that's actually something that I'm finding myself really enjoying in Godzilla. And I know that's something that Keith has built into that, the risk reward, same thing. It's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to experience more cities and try to get deeper into different modes? Or do you just want to push your luck and just stay here in this city and try to build and build and build so that you can cash out? And yeah, I definitely think
Karl knows nothing about that.
No.
Karl is the king of that, and that's something, Karl. I think with Rush, I think you're gonna get in trouble.
I've seen the potential in certain spots.
Yeah,
but going back to Godzilla, the reason that doesn't get tiring to me or grindy is because like the Carnage bonuses, you're always trying to build that, but it's that same ball. Once you drain, it's gone. You move on to the next city. You're advancing through the rest of the game, right?
Yeah.
On Guns N' Roses, it's basically you're playing one way or the other. You're either playing for the wizard modes or you're playing for points. You're not going to do both. And unfortunately, the points in the wizard modes are determined by how many points you earn in the songs. But they never work together. So like you need to play a good 10 to 12 minutes in each album, songs from each album to have a decent value in your wizard modes.
Yeah.
So you have to have at least an hour-long game to be able to have any sort of value in the final wizard mode in Sympathy for the Devil. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything. So, I mean, the way you get to that wizard mode is you play 3 minutes minimum in each album.
Okay.
So Appetite, Illusion 1 and 2, and Chinese Democracy. Okay. You play Slash Solo, which is just spin the disc a bunch, right?
Yep.
And everyone times out Slash Solo because it's not worth much. Although I do hear they're working on code and they're going to be updating that.
Okay.
And then you also play Tour Multi-Ball, which is shooting orbits until you finally like that. So however many orbits. After all that, you get to, and you play the 4 wizard modes for the albums. And then finally, not in this lifetime, or the mode's called Sympathy for the Devil will be lit. Now, I went through this. I've been to it, I think 3 times. I did the grind to get there. And the first time, it's actually a different style mode, kind of like Rush. I mean, this was before Rush, but what's the planet on Rush? Anyways, it's the one with the wacky flipper stuff. So it's very similar where you've got the reverse flippers, you've got the center button to activate pop bumpers or activate flippers, stuff like that. Spoilers, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, that's how that works. The spoiler tag. You throw it in the middle of the spoiler. Yeah.
But anyways, the scoring for that mode is based on the previous wizard modes. And so if you don't have any points in that, you have I walked out of that wizard mode, finishing it one time, and it was 300,000, I think.
Oh, wow.
Which is nothing on that game.
Nah.
I mean, there's I would hope that there would at least be a base value of some sort to make it feel like it was worthwhile. After working on the game for playing the game for a half hour to get there.
Yeah.
Just do something.
Yeah. Like for instance, Rush, the mode you were talking about, which is the Cygnus X1 Book 2 Hemispheres. It's all about your super jackpots and your modes or your multi-balls. So,
Yeah, so it does build, but at the same time, I mean, I think when I played that, it came out around 500 million. I mean, I feel like that game, the goals to score in that wizard mode, you're going to naturally get.
Right.
And you're not having to extend specifically, I don't have to make sure that I play this songs in this album for 15 minutes.
Right.
To make sure that I have some sort of value there.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what I ran into. Well, I'm not anywhere near that, like wizard mode, but just even when I was playing, if it was the idea was like I just wanted to see as much song as I could. My goal was always encore. My goal, like that was my goal, because I could usually get far enough in a song to qualify the wizard mode. But then, like, what bummed me out was I don't know of any other game that I've borrowed or owned that I avoided a wizard mode. I mean, that was there. They'd be like, "No, hold the button in. You don't want to do the wizard mode. Like, there's no points because I had no points in my song, so there's no point in the wizard mode." Or I like qualified slash solo, and they're like, "Cradle up, just wait it out." I'm like, these are modes that somebody spent time coding a unique experience, and I'm being told the smart thing here is don't do it. Like, don't do it. There's no reason to do it. The tour multi-ball, I actually did do. That was just one of those, like, I want to see if I can do it. And I grinded away and hit all the shots I needed to do it to achieve it. And that was kind of fun. But I don't know how that, unless you have this marathon of a game like you're talking about, Karl, I don't know how you get to that mode unless it's just a long game. So that's an interesting thing. I mean, I know you do have to have a similar mentality, though, when you play Godzilla, though, because I know when Keith put in, what is it? There's Planet X, and then there's the stage after Planet X. Like, I know when you are trying to get to that, which is what, King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
When you're trying to get that, you're dropping all thought of like building in each city. You're just trying to get, it's kind of a race for you to get to there, right? I mean,
for the streams, yes. For the streams, I will, if I have a goal of King of the Monsters, I'll skip some multi-balls. I won't play tank in every city, you know.
Yeah.
And
it pains
when I
you.
play by myself, I try to complete everything.
You can't. Yeah.
I can't stop it. It's that risk reward. I have to, you know, I want that 5x carnage bonus. Once I do drain out of a city, then I go, okay, it's time to change.
Okay, Karl.
Yeah.
It pains you. But, well, cool. Well, is there anything, I mean, GNR, I still enjoy the game. I would love to play it. It's definitely a game. If you've only played it at a bar, you're missing out. It's a game you really have to play in a home environment. The music and light show is just insane. And if you like that type of game where you're just, it's risk reward, like if that's really what draws you back in, that's awesome. And Karl, I mean, people look to you guys, you high end players, and they're like, if the high end players own these games, there's got to be something here. There's got to be something in that game to draw them back in over and over and over again. So the fact it's still in Tom's collection, and Karl, the fact it lasted in your collection for over a year, I mean, that says something about the game for sure. I don't know. Well, good luck selling it. It's a great. You're going to miss it dearly. That's what I'm hearing. You can barely. What is all the things you read on Pinside? Like, I don't want to sell it, but I have to. Yeah.
At the same time, they've made so many of them that it won't be hard to pick up. Again, if I do miss it, and that's one of the factors to selling it.
Yeah, it is unique. It is definitely one of the games that I was able to borrow from Zach that I do miss. Like, it is and I miss that feeling, that roller coaster. I don't miss the punch in the gut that I got every time, but the cashing out is something that I do miss. So.
Ultra high and ultra low. That's what that game does. Yeah.
Ultra low. All right. Anything else, or do we miss anything else with triple combo on GNR? Just do all the. I mean, yeah. Tournament strat. Don't play a song. Tournament strat. Don't play a song. Just focus on the mini modes or the mini multi balls, and the wizard mode. Just try to get the bare minimum, right? The bare minimum that you need to get to the album wizard mode. You do that for all 4 albums. You got to crush a bunch of loops to get tour. You have to hit the spinner a whole bunch of times to get slash. And then is it just qualified, or is there something?
And then you're there. And hit the scoop and you start it. And then you have fun with the crazy flipper action.
And love all the points you didn't earn because you did it too fast.
And hope you finish it too, because it's not the easiest thing to finish.
All right. Well, let's wrap that up then.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Well, that feels good. I think, when Travis is here, I feel like triple combo is typically like 3 times longer than that.
Yes.
That's why Dennis Crucial, shout out to Dennis Crucial. He hates it. He hates triple combo. He's like, you guys talk about the same game for way too long. I'm like, we're trying
This
to give
was
you
the
details.
baby's first edition.
Baby's first triple combo. Yeah.
Thanks, Ray.
Well, cool. Yeah. Is there anything else? Anything, Karl? Is there anything you want to talk about? Here you go. It's Travis usually at this point is, heckled me and hurt my feelings.
Was I supposed to take that place?
You don't have to.
No,
I mean,
no.
He's made enemies.
We got the Deadpool video. That
There
was
we go.
all the
Thank
heckling
you.
that was needed.
Thank you. Yes. Well, cool.
Just Indus coming up. That's the January. Shoot, I should know the dates off the top of my head, and I don't.
He's gonna research it. I know you had that all-in package, right?
I got my tickets bought, my plane ticket, bed and breakfast or Airbnb. I'm
ready.
set to go.
Awesome.
No, I'm excited to watch it. I would love to, I would love to do at least one of these bigger tournaments, just to even be there. I mean, just to watch it from afar is great, but to see it in person, even the little bit that I saw at Cleepin, I really enjoyed. I should probably participate, but like Super Series or something, I want to make my way up to one of those sometime.
Yeah.
Should be a good time. But well, Karl, is that it? Is there anything else you could play? I mean, IEpinball, obviously. If you want to see some high quality streaming, Karl does it really well, not only technically but also skill wise. So IEpinball, check him out.
Yeah, starting a new Wizard Mode challenge on Stern's Indiana Jones, where I'm gonna kill myself. I think because I've seen what it involves now. After saying I'm gonna do it, I now need to actually do it, which is it's gonna be the grindiest thing ever.
Is this worse than 24?
I think so. I think
so. This
it
is the bad Indiana Jones.
This is the bad Indiana Jones. Yes, exactly.
And I know when you were streaming Big Buck Hunter, you had a hunting hat that you wore a lot. Did somebody get you an Indiana Jones fedora? I mean, are you dressing up for this?
No fedora yet, and that hat was given to me like a week into that. When I started going crazy. Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Won't be daily like Big Buck Hunter. That's what was nice with Big Buck Hunter was it was at the beginning of the pandemic. I was getting off of work at 3, so I could jump right on and stream for 2 hours.
I loved it, man. I loved watching you slowly head into insanity. It was great, and then to actually see you though complete it was great. So I'm excited to see that come back. IEpinball on Twitch, IEpinball on YouTube. You can see all of your Wizard Mode challenges. They are fantastic, extremely entertaining. So, Karl, thank you not only for being on the show, but thanks for just all that content. I mean, it's very entertaining.
Thank you for all your content.
Oh, well, I do what I can, but it's I find Karl and I stream at very similar times, and I think it's a great yin and yang of we both do our best to stay engaged with chat, and Karl's over there like a great Formula One driver, just nailing every turn, and I'm like a demolition derby, so I'm just crashing and burning, but hey, we're having a good time. Real good time. And yeah, Tom, like always, thanks for being here. Plug away, man. Thanks for coming out of retirement and still giving your gift to
I'll
the pinball
retire
community.
again after Free Play Florida. I have or District 82 has Black Friday tournament coming up, so I'm going to be streaming that.
Nice.
So after you have turkey and you're all full and you do all your shopping and you're really tired, just sit down and watch some pinball action.
It'll wake you right up.
Yes.
It'll wake you very
competitive pinball. It's where it's at.
And I'd say Travis can plug something, but he literally has nothing to plug. He plugs this. He plugs Triple Drain. So, thanks to all of our Patreon members. Thank you for everybody that supports us there. And then Triple Drain merch, Silverball swag. Thank you once again for Jackson for making an amazing Jackson gi. It's hoodie. Yeah. What do you think? Feels good?
It's nice.
Yeah, Karl, we need to get
nice.
you. Yeah.
I bought a shirt and a hoodie. They're they're in the other room. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say we need to get you one. Thanks for being on here. What's funny to me is you, as a listener, have already contributed more money to this podcast than Travis has, because he has not bought any of our merch. He literally got a hoodie finally after a little bit of That's not even a joke, Tom. That's just Travis being terrible. So, well, thank you for the support, Karl.
Travis is saving money for that camera. Okay.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't know, but thank you, Karl. Thank you, Tom. Check me out every Wednesday on the Pinball Network, and then every other Thursday on Flipping Out. And like always, Tom, you get the last words.
Later, everybody.